So here's a special edition of the podcast using telemetry from Matthew Michels. Thought this might be a little interesting since the last one I didn't have any power from. So, making the corner, and you can see that the boys up front are starting to stretch it out already. And check out Matthew's power. 80 watts, not too horrible at this point, 157. And Curtis and I, we're back there chasing, but the speed is already starting to get up there, and we've barely rounded the corner. So Matthew's doing looks like 18, 19 miles an hour, and look at the wattage starting to creep up. And this is where Curtis and I got a little concerned that we needed to be chasing here. And there is a headwind, so the chase doesn't look like it's that horrible, but for us back here trying to gain on them, took a little bit of effort. Anyway, so just kind of making some observations here. And like I said earlier in the other video, Matthew was supposed to be taking it easy here, because this is actually when I'm making this recording, 2 days before Ironman, Florida, first time. But it doesn't look all that easy to me. So we've settled in, and if you make note here, Matthew isn't even at the front at this point. And look at the wattage that the boys are already throwing down. So yeah, I know, Matthew's a little bit bigger, so his wattage isn't going to be, a 1-for-1 with mine, but 360, 340, whatever, it's still some pretty serious wattage. So we got Joel up front, Matthew sitting in, 18 mile an hour, not too horrible, and his heart rate looks like 139, 140, and even it's creeping up. I've never taken a look at anybody else's cadence or anything before, but look at that cadence, 72, 74, whatever. So we're talking about the big man, high torque, low cadence, big power. Look at that, 400 watts thrown in there. So, people might think that this is maybe not that easy, but there's some effort here to stay in there. So looking at the back here, everybody's still hanging in. So I know Ilka on that cross bike's got to be throwing down some pretty serious wattage too, especially with that flapping jacket, which is better than the other one. But everyone's pretty comfortable. Dean's sort of sitting out in the wind, but he's also the big motor, which earlier in the year he was just blasting it, but he's been a little tamer lately. So who's up front? So now this is interesting that Matthew up front. Look at that, 300 watts, cresting the hill. Everyone's starting to chill a little bit, 24, 25 miles an hour. And there's some cars coming up here. I don't remember if anybody yelled car back or anything. Maybe they did. But the Popo is coming. There he is. Yo, what's up, dog? Yeah. We were all in our lane and everything, so that was cool. Back to the action. Matthew still up front. 290. Up, little coasting here. I guess if I was doing an automotive commentary, it'd be oh, and he lifts right there. But this isn't automotive. Although it might be interesting to throw an automotive gauge in here to have the throttle. That might be kind of funny. Anyway, looking back here, Curtis is pretty comfortable. Up front, we got the big wattage still being thrown out. Not crazy, but what's being done up there is still higher than my FTP. So even if I were to go up there, no, this ain't gonna happen today. I was actually feeling kind of weak, but then looking at some of these wattages that are up front, look at that, 530 watts. We are throwing it down here. So, I really wish I would have had my telemetry. In fact, one of these days, I think I'm going to get maybe a bunch of people, get Matthew to toss me his file, maybe Carrie, somebody else with a power meter, and I'll line them all up here, because I can do that, and it'd be interesting to have all of our powers displayed on the screen with, of course, my wonderful commentary. Look at that. Matthew, he was talking about being doing 300 and something up there when he talked to this thing, but look at that, 450 watts, and I don't think this thing's dropped below 3 for quite a while, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I really wish I would have had mine for some comparison, because I know I'd probably, and I'm making a guess here, mid 200s, upper 200s, even just sitting in. And I was wondering in my earlier, commentaries, why there's nobody going around here? This is embarrassing. Well, no, it's not really embarrassing when those kind of watts are being thrown down. There's not a whole lot of people in this group capable of going up there and doing much for a great period of time. I think Greg's probably capable of doing a little bit. Definitely Dean. Pretty much Curtis, and maybe that's the short list here. There's Ilka's popped off the back, way back there. Mental note to everybody: don't bring a knife to a gunfight, as I always state. Mark looking pretty strong with a sharpened knife. If he had some slightly like lighter tires or wheels on that thing, and learned to get in the drops more, he would definitely be up there swinging it with the big man, making something happen. But that's what seasoning. So still looking up front, maybe there's a little relaxation up there. We've dropped below 200 watts. I can see the recovery by like Ian, and everybody's like, some soft pedaling going on through there, some relaxation. But still, it's still pretty much like game on, especially considering the headwind up there. I should have asked Matthew what his max heart rate was, but I think the 145 we're seeing about now, probably max for what we've seen so far. Big wattage here. Look at that, up to 600 and some watts on this little one. I know I was feeling it, so I'm certain everybody else was too. But looking at people and looking at these videos, you really can't tell like who's suffering and how much wattage is being thrown out. When people watch these videos on YouTube or whatever, it's like, people pedaling their bikes, look at that, isn't that nice? But when we're in the moment, we're just feeling some pain here, and you gotta like work through that. Still, Matthew at the front, which is making it really interesting. Wattage has dropped a tiny bit, upper 200s. Maybe it's time for somebody to go around here. Maybe this is where the embarrassing part is, but no one is. Still keeping it pretty tight, looking good. Everyone's got good cadences in there. If we're looking at people, it looks like Curtis has the highest cadence, indicating a pretty big aerobic engine. Dean's looking good. Joel's up there with a good cadence also. Matthew's cadence, 74, 75. Yeah, lots of torque there, gentlemen. Lots of power. So I wonder if that's his normal cadence or whatever. I know mine's normally in the 80s. For a while there, in the big Lance Armstrong craze, everyone's like, gotta have a high cadence. That's the most efficient way. But, depending on your physiology, sometimes if you've got not that much of an aerobic engine and you've got more of a muscular strength, you just want to keep like a lower cadence. So that's what's going on here. Yeah, look at that, still upper 200s, low 300s, still above my FTP, which is probably these days probably about 190. So there's no way I'd have been up there, but I'm happy to be hanging in, looking good. Matthew's still at the front, pushing some good wattage as we near the end. Looks like at this point it's going to be just settled, and everyone's looking to go for the sprint here at the end. Look at this, 600 watts on that little riser. Yeah, I know I felt something. I probably hit about 4. Looks like a little bit of recovery here, down to the 200s. Heart rate up to 154. I guess I should probably find a heart rate chart gauge that actually shows the heart rate over a period of time. I've not seen one in this app, but I've not looked for one. I think that'd be kind of interesting, so you can see what's going on. The speed tracker down there in the lower right hand. Kind of interesting, but throwing some heart rate in there with it, that would have been cool. In fact, it might have been nice to have a gauge that just shows power, heart rate, all that stuff in a line graph, so you can see what happened over time. Well, looks like somebody's punching it now, because I saw 800 watts. I think this is where Dean might have made that little joke about like picking up the pace, and Matthew like obliging. So you can see now, serious wattage being thrown down here, and people are going hard. I'm lucky to be sitting in that little surge that definitely popped a few people off. And now I think Matthew's had it for the day. Oh, looks like a 161 as a max heart rate, and then we're gonna just follow people through. Let's see what he's doing back there for the recovery. So still doing some serious watts, 300 or so, 400. So it looks like he must be getting pretty close to being like connected here. But I should have probably turned the camera around and gotten a look at what was going on there. maybe if I had more copious time, I would do that. But making these videos is actually a little bit time consuming, because you got to do, like, the editing and the lining up of the telemetry data, and then you got to find the overlays, and then of course, just the video portion, you have to like aim the camera and do all that. I mean, definitely the 360 camera makes it like easier, because I can pick whatever I want, but you still have to go through and point it somewhere, which, the operation of doing it's not too bad, but sitting and watching the computer render that stuff, not that much fun, because now I see why people want faster workstations for doing videos, and I can't imagine what it would be doing to do like a movie like Iron Man or something. Those people must have some serious horsepower as far as computers, and a lot of time to do all those special effects, which probably goes underappreciated. Anyway, looks like even Matthew's like not recovery, but taking it easy still, like 200 above my FTP, even at 14 miles an hour up here. So it definitely shows that like the speed of this whole thing really doesn't show what the effort really is here. You got to have power, and then you have to have some visceral feeling of what that power feels like. So, I highly recommend all you guys go out and get some power meters. They're cheap now. You guys make a lot of money. As far as having quivers and tools in your arsenal, that's one thing that, even if you're not going to use it for training, it's pretty interesting to look at. So coming to the end here, and I know we turn around and we do our little mini chase, because the rules of engagement had been probably broken a little bit. So Matthew and Dean coming up, some seriously low wattage, find some recovery. Matthew's heart rate down to 123, pretty good. I think he's all ready for the Iron Man. So I think that little bit of intensity, may have helped or hurt him for this Sunday's event. But hey, it's all good. See how he does. Oh, and for you guys out there that want to track Matthew for this week's Ironman, get the Ironman tracker, and you can follow him. So you can Google it, Ironman Florida, and then the Ironman tracker, and see what's going on. So now we've got to go back and go chase some people down here that have like kind of taken off up the road here when we're supposed to sort of be regrouping. I'm like, yeah, we should have turned around before they did, but some respect to the big man should have been afforded here, and a nice recovery, because it really is like an interval. It's like a sprint. You want to recover fully, and turning around, taking it easy. That's what you should be doing. So you look at Matthew's heart rate and power. He's kind of taking it easy. 190, 200 watts, not that much. But for the regroup, I'm thinking there's no way we need to be doing that kind of wattage to be regrouping. Still, it is what it is. So coming down, and you can see where it's a slight downgrade, where the big man has gained a lot of potential energy, and now it is being exploited on the way down. So we got a tailwind down a hill, so then we're moving pretty good, even though we're not working that hard. And we catch some of the other people that were more or less polite. Ian's cool, he's waiting for us, and we're just going to bring people in. Sitting in, 0 watts from Matthew, and then I go to the front here trying to like bring some people back. Ian looking over his shoulder back there. I should probably get a mirror. Probably more people should get mirrors or whatever. Might be a little bit safer. It's in my to-do list. I keep getting them, but over the years I lose them. So I haven't gotten one in a bunch of years, but time to get one. And now we're chasing people down. Matthew's sitting in, and he's not working that hard back there, Wow, it's like I'm probably working up here, probably 200 watts, and he's sitting back there, sitting in at 0, just that potential energy. So now you have an idea of what like Rick and Dean, the big men, when they're coming down, how much extra energy they have. So if they're putting in 200 watts, and the weight that they have is giving them 50, 60 watts, yeah, that's some serious advantage over those little lightweight guys. So finally pulling in the rest of the pack, and if we got Matthew back there sitting in at 250 watts, we don't need to be doing that, guys. But anyway, kind of a fun to see what's actually going on there. Gonna pull some more people in, and I think this video is probably gonna end pretty soon, and I think we'll just call it good there. But there's the regroup, and it's pretty much there. I can see the guys up front, and Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.